What's going on, guys? Supersavage789 here, bringing you guys a video doing What If Sabrina Was Ash's Sister Part 2. Now, we're not going to do a recap for the last part, so if you haven't seen it, make sure you go and check it out. There's a playlist on my channel of the series now, so go check that out. And if you have seen it, let's just get straight into the video. Ash and Sabrina would end up entering the Safari Zone, where they end up helping the Kangaskhan kid reunite with his family. This just goes easier thanks to Sabrina's psychic powers. Ash would decide to catch some Pokemon while here as well though, since he might as well seize on the opportunity. He would end up capturing a Tauros, as well as a Rhyhorn. Sabrina would catch a Nidorina during this as well. The duo would then come across a bridge to Sunnytown. Without a bike they can't pass, however Sabrina has it covered. She simply teleports them all over to the other side and smiles cheekily afterward. They then enter an abandoned mansion where they meet Duplica and Ditto. They then try to help Ditto learn how to properly transform. It would take a little while, but I think they'd be able to succeed. They would also get a few ideas for their shows thanks to Haunter, which would further boost their sales when they do open. As they continue moving, Ash notices a Pikachu and follows it, with Haunter and Sabrina not far behind. He sees a whole herd of Pikachu and tries to be their friend, however they all begin running. Ash can feel overwhelming emotion from them and realizes that they are afraid. So Ash would try and get them to be his friend. It'd take a while, but thanks to Haunter, he would succeed in this goal. They hang out with the Pikachu for a little bit before continuing on their quest. They find a Snorlax blocking a town's water supply, but Sabrina makes quick work of that with her telekinesis. The duo arrive in Dark City where they learn of a gang war. Ash and Sabrina would decide to take on each side, with Ash's Muk defeating Scyther and Sabrina's Kadabra beating Electabuzz. Sabrina then subdues the two leaders with telekinesis, and Ash convinces them to turn good, which they would. The duo would arrive at a city that is currently preparing for a carnival. They would run into a man named Melvin. They decide to help him with his routine, with Haunter being very helpful due to its largely showboaty personality. Ultimately, this episode pretty much goes the same, except it's Sparrow that takes out the large amount of Exeggutor. Next up, Ash and Sabrina meet Cassandra and agree to help her evolve a Paris. Ash conceals throughout the episode as Paris goes from being timid to being brave, and eventually to it evolving. They then arrive at Neon Town where the duo meet Jigglypuff. Thanks to her being psychic, Sabrina is able to stay awake while listening to Jigglypuff singing, which makes it very happy. It would then join Sabrina's team, however it definitely wouldn't stay in its ball, deciding to leave for comic relief whenever it feels it. The duo arrive at Grandpa Canyon where it's rather desolate. They begin looking around with Haunter doing what he usually does, heading underground and through the walls. He then sees something underground that makes him scream. Ash can feel the overwhelming amount of fear coming from his Haunter and tries to get to it, pulling rocks off the ground to try and help him. Sabrina rips a hole clean the ground and floats them both in, along with Jigglypuff. They find Haunter dazed before a bunch of fossil Pokemon attack them. Ash would send Mankey, who'd be able to fend off the fossil Pokemon quite well, along with Sabrina's Kadabra. An Aerodactyl will then take Ash and flies away. Sabrina can't stop him due to not wanting to hurt Ash, so she teleports all of them above ground to keep up. Aerodactyl would begin to mock Mankey, which gets it so angry that it evolves. It then manages to make Sabrina fling it at Aerodactyl, allowing it to defeat it. Now, however, it releases overwhelming rage, not even obeying to Ash anymore. The duo continue moving, passing by a poster of a missing boy. They then encounter a Farfetch'd that begins trying to lure them. Ash, however, consents its deceitful nature and mentions it to Sabrina and Haunter. Using telekinesis, Sabrina would locate the Farfetch'd's trainer nearby and pulls him over, demanding that he speak. He apologizes profusely out of fear, explaining how he's too weak. So Ash gets the idea to fight him, however Sabrina decides to step up and fight. Using her Psyduck, Sabrina would battle the Farfetch'd trainer. After Psyduck gets a headache and accesses its psychic powers, Sabrina would win. The trainer then leaves satisfied, where he goes to repent for his crimes. While moving through the woods, Sabrina would mention how she can feel a bunch of auras all over, though she cannot see them. Ash tells her that maybe she's just imagining things, and she reluctantly agrees. The duo arrive at a Pokemon Center where they decide to rest for the night. Haunter would decide to go have some fun in the woods while he waits for his trainer to awaken. As he moves through the woods, Haunter would hear a noise and goes to investigate. He'd find a wild Bulbasaur that's lost in the woods, trying to make its way to the evolution ritual. Haunter begins to play with it, pulling funny faces and stuff which makes the Bulbasaur laugh, and then reveals to Haunter that it's lost, and is trying to make its way over to the mysterious garden so that it may evolve, although it is a bit early. Haunter then tried to help it. The next day, Ash realizes Haunter is missing and begins searching for it. Using Spearow as well as Sabrina's telepathy, they're able to locate Haunter with the Bulbasaur, but they also begin trying to help it find its way. As they are moving, a wild Ekans would attack the Bulbasaur, trying to eat its bulb. However, Haunter would simply save it. They then eventually arrive at the old tree, where they realize the Bulbasaur will be waiting a long time on its own. So Ash decides to offer Bulbasaur a place on his team. They can simply return when the ritual has begun. Bulbasaur would agree, and so Ash catches it. The ball, however, would vanish, shocking everyone watching. Telepathically, Ash's father informs him that his Bulbasaur is at their home. So after Ash gets to a Pokemon Center, he would swap out his Muck for the Bulbasaur. After some uneventful journeys, Ash and Sabrina would arrive in a city and hear about a breeding center, which they check out. The duo would talk to the owners before leaving promptly after. Ash could sense something off about them though, mentioning it to Sabrina. She would agree, and so the duo decide to investigate. Ash asks Haunter to look inside, which it does, finding all the Pokemon in cages, which it informs the duo of outside. They try and tell Officer Jenny, however she doesn't do anything, so it falls to them to save the Pokemon. They break in and begin to free the Pokemon, leading to Butch and Cassidy showing up trying to stop them. Ash would use Rhyhorn against the Raticate, allowing for him to win quite easily. Officer Jenny arrives and sees all the cages, realizing Butch and Cassidy are criminals. She fails to catch them, however, as they manage to barely escape. Team Rocket would realize how strong these trainers are, and so Giovanni decides to task a trio of grunts to capture them. These grunts are Jesse, James, and Meowth. They would be deployed out to catch them, however Jesse gets sidetracked, winning the Princess contest and catching Lickitung. They'd first attack Ash and Sabrina at school, with Ash defeating them easily. The duo then arrive on Cinnabar, where they're confronted by a trainer giving them riddles. Sabrina is suspicious of them, and uses her telepathy to read his mind, learning that he is brilliant. He is shocked and asks her to keep it down. So Ash and Sabrina skip all the shenanigans and go straight to the gym for Ash to battle. Blaine leads with Ninetales, and so Ash sends out Tauros. Due to the delicate nature of the Ninetales, Tauros is a natural counter. After taking a few fire spins, Tauros would be able to hit him with a takedown and finishes the fight with Fissure. Blaine then sends out his Rhydon, which proceeds to finish off Tauros. So, in response, Ash would send out his Rhyhorn to fight the Rhydon. Despite being much weaker for obvious reasons, Rhyhorn is able to power through and is able to stand through the pain. Rhyhorn and Rhydon then clash with a Horn Drill that knocks both of them out. Blaine sends out his Magmar and Ash sends out his Primeape. It begins to thrash around violently against the Magmar without thinking, which allows Magmar to take advantage of its surroundings. Primeape would quickly overheat and gets lightheaded, which allows Magmar to quickly defeat it. After this, Ash and Sabrina have to defeat Team Rocket from stealing Pokemon. They then accidentally make the volcano begin to erupt, and so Sabrina and Ash rush over to help. All the Pokemon help out trying to stop it, including Primeape, which means that Blaine would give Ash another chance to fight. So he would use Primeape against Magmar. Thanks to Ash trusting it to fight again, Primeape would respect him and becomes obedient, allowing Primeape and Ash to defeat Magmar and get the Volcano Badge. The next episode would be the one with the Blastoise. Team Rocket would be less interested in the Blastoise, especially since it isn't sleeping, but they do decide to steal it nonetheless. This ultimately ends in a fight with Ash and Sabrina. However, Team Rocket don't use their typical Pokemon. Jessie would send out her new companion, Squirtle from the Squirtle Squad. Ash would combat it using Bulbasaur, and the duo begin to fight. Ash can feel Squirtle's emotion, and can feel its confliction in helping Team Rocket. It tells the Squirtle that it doesn't have to do bad. It can make up for its mistakes, and be a good person. The Squirtle doesn't know what to do, however Jessie simply laughs, shouting how Squirtle is truly evil down to the bone. Squirtle would turn around and crushes his Pokeball, before teaming up with the other Squirtle-line creatures to defeat Team Rocket. Ash then catches Squirtle and swaps out Tauros for him. The duo continue moving and arrive at Viridian after a while of traveling. Ash goes in, being told about a 3-on-3 match with Giovanni. Giovanni starts with Golem and Ash uses Squirtle, which gives him a quick W. Ash then recalls Squirtle and sends out his Bulbasaur against Giovanni's Kingler, which again awards him another win. Giovanni would then use Mewtwo, sweeping Ash's entire team. The sinister nature coming off of Mewtwo sends fear down Ash and Sabrina's spines. Giovanni tells him to leave, however Ash can't. He can feel pain from within Mewtwo's very soul. He shouts at Giovanni, asking what he's doing to that Pokemon. Why is it hurting so much? Giovanni tests the notion, however, stating that Pokemon don't feel emotion, and are just tools to an end. Ash disagrees, stating how Pokemon do have feelings. They're creatures, not tools. This annoys Giovanni, as he tells Mewtwo to get rid of the brat. While Mewtwo is reluctant, it would comply, as it doesn't believe Ash. It begins lifting Ash off the ground, however Sabrina counters it, using her own psychic powers to try and stop it. She begins backing up Ash, telling the Pokemon that it doesn't need to shut itself off from everyone. It will only lead into a world of more pain. Trust her, she knows. The Mewtwo pushes back further, so Sabrina calls upon a Kadabra Psyduck to help her push it back. Giovanni states how this is absurd, beginning to order the rest of his Pokemon to get rid of them. Mewtwo would snap back, however, shocking everyone else that it can talk. It tells Giovanni that it will discard them. Do not interfere. Ash keeps trying to get through to Mewtwo, telling it to listen, but it won't, adamant that all trainers are the same. So Ash orders Haunter to use Shadow Ball. It does so, hitting Mewtwo, which cements its mindset. Ash was simply only aiming for the armor, revealing its actual appearance. Ash tells Mewtwo that if it keeps believing it's simply a tool, it will be, but it isn't. Let him help it. Mewtwo, out of rage or sadness, maybe even a combination, begins to let its full power fly, wreaking havoc. Sabrina grabs Ash and teleports out of the gym, right as Mewtwo destroys the entire building. From the rubble emerges Mewtwo alongside Giovanni. He tries to tame Mewtwo yet again, but informs him it isn't his slave. He tries to attack it with his Pokemon, however Ash and Sabrina begin to help Mewtwo, using their entire teams to fight off Giovanni's small army of Pokemon. Mewtwo would watch in awe, using his psychic powers to feel their Pokemon's emotions. They're all fighting, not because they're tools being forced to, but out of love and mutual respect for its trainer. Mewtwo would use Psychic, picking up the entirety of Giovanni's team. He approaches the master and stares him in the eyes. Giovanni grunts to obey him, for he is his master, his creator. Mewtwo replies that it has no master, launching his target out of sight. Mewtwo then turns to Ash and Sabrina, his face still stoic. I struggle to believe your words, despite understanding your hearts. Show me. Show me that trainers exist beyond you both, that care for Pokemon, and don't see them as tools. Show me. So Mewtwo would become Ash and Sabrina's new companion for the time being, ending off this part. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, why don't you like and subscribe, and let me know you want to see a part 3. If this video gets a lot of love, I'll do a part 3. If not, we'll just do a different Pokemon What If. And yeah, bye!